Good morning, everybody. Hope y'all are having a good Labor Day weekend. I know a lot of y'all get tomorrow off as well, so enjoy the day off. And for those of you that have to go to school, I'm sorry. I'm sure you have one less day somewhere else. It's a beautiful Sunday today. Looks like we're going to get a cold front with highs in the 70s later this week, so that's going to be interesting. I saw in the news that Denver, Colorado is scheduled for 94 degrees tomorrow, and then the following day they're supposed to have snow. So I guess it could be worse, although Denver's probably a pretty cool place to live right about now. Um, Today I wanted to start off with some praises. I know Lauren was not feeling well, and I know he took a COVID test. He's feeling much better and also had a negative result on his COVID test, so that is awesome. My mom is doing well in her rehab from double knee replacement surgery, but continue to pray for her. I know Danny is glad to be back at school, and her family's doing well, so I thank God for that. And it sounds like everything is going maybe even a little bit better than people thought. Hopefully it will continue that way with all the school reopenings and COVID and all of that. It's going to be a challenging fall no matter what, but I just pray that it goes better than anticipated. Y'all continue to be safe and wear your masks and all of that in public places. It doesn't hurt to do it. It's not much of an ask, and it will really help everybody. And so I do want to share some prayer requests. I continue to pray for my mom, my brother, and his family tested positive, or he did tested positive for COVID. So his school and is shut down for a few days, and he is in quarantine. His wife and son are also in quarantine, but they're doing well, not really having a ton of symptoms, but continue to pray for them. Hopefully that will be the extent of it and they can get back to normal. Pray for Danny's sister as she just had a baby. Also, Faith and Grace's grandpa is going to be having heart surgery, I believe, this week. So pray for him. Also, Faith is going off to college tomorrow, and so pray for her as she travels over to Longview and starts that chapter in her life. And also continue to pray for all of our college kids, David, Matthew, Mason, Carly. There's probably some more that I've forgotten. Oh, Nick and Hayden, and all of you that are back at high school and junior high. So challenging year, but y'all can do well. I know God has awesome things planned for you, and that's a little bit of what I wanted to talk about this morning. Is our why and our how, like living with a purpose. A man or woman with a purpose is a powerful thing, but discovering our purpose is a lot of times very difficult. And I know that's something that all young people struggle with a little bit. Is like our identity and what we were created and put on this planet for. We have different likes and abilities and skills, and how do we use those to produce a life that's pleasing to us, to those around us, but ultimately to God. And it's hard. It's hard to figure out what God put you on this earth for. And the good thing is we don't have to have it completely figured out. And a lot of times I think we get pulled in many different directions trying to discover our purpose. And a lot of times we get stuck going down paths that may not be what God wants us to do. And so making sure that God is a part of all of our planning and all of our goals and all of that is super important, because if we don't hear what God has to say, then we are ultimately not going to be living His purpose out. And it's kind of a merge of what God has made us good at, what He's made us like, and then what He has in store for us. But having a true God-given sense of purpose in our life matters so much more than our online profile, our possessions, our power, our physical attributes, and all of that. Living a life that pleases God and live a life that's for Him and for His purpose is much more powerful than that. And it's going to be much more fulfilling than pursuing our own interests. Having enough to live with is not nearly as powerful as having something to live for. And I know that's one thing that people that have depression and people that ultimately maybe commit suicide always they lose this sense of hope and a sense of purpose, like of that they're not worth anything, that it doesn't matter if they die, or that they're not worth anything. And that couldn't be further from the truth. In reality is that God has created all of us for a purpose, and He loves all of us and He cares for all of us. It's been said that the two most important days in someone's life are the day they were born, and then the day they figure out why they were born. And whenever we figure out our why, the how will a lot of times fall into place. And so if we can figure out why or what our purpose is, then how we get to that, God's going to take care of that. And in the Bible, it gives us a purpose, and this is the purpose that I want to look at a little bit today. This is the purpose God puts before all of His children. In Micah 6:8, it says to act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. To act justly means that we act in ways that are right and that are true. And how do we know that? But to talk to God and to look into His Word to see how we live. Because a lot of times common sense and the way man would interpret things is not necessarily the right way to do it. Kind of a stupid example, but this week I saw an article and I read it, and it was about a college kid who had figured out a brilliant hack on how to get free lunch every single day, or free meal every single day. Well, he compiled like an Excel spreadsheet, a workbook with like 800 different restaurants in his particular area. And he spent quite a bit of time doing this, but he set up an account at all of these restaurants, their websites, and put in a different birthday for 365 of them. And so, because a lot of them gave away free food or free dessert or something on his birthday. And so he did this innovative hack to get free food from 365 different restaurants for each day of the year. And the writer of this article was praising him for his ingenuity, and a lot of people were saying, "Man, that's awesome! And can I download that worksheet from you, so I can do the same thing?" And the first thing that popped in my head was, "Yeah, that's pretty cool. He figured something out and was able to take advantage of that situation, but he did it by lying and cheating and stealing from these restaurants." And you know what? That's the purpose of the article, was praising him. But in my mind, I thought that's a perfect example of our culture, the world that we live in, and the world that Satan wants us to live in is where we lie and cheat and steal. You know what? Jesus said that he did not come to be a thief, right? But to be a giver of life. And I don't think that's how God would want us to do it. Even as clever as a way that was to get free food, I don't think that's in the spirit of how God wants us to live. To act justly, to love mercy. There's a lot of talk, on the news today, and a lot of things happening in our world because people have not acted justly, and they're not being very merciful. And God wants us to be quick to forgive and to love other people, and that's something that we all need in our world today. And the last thing there, to walk humbly with your God. Obviously, there's two parts to that. First, that we need to walk with God, and that we need to follow His ways, His direction, and to follow His path, but to it also humbly, and just to realize that God has given us all talents and abilities and blessed us more than we deserve by far. But it's not of our own accord that we have success. I get caught up in this and that because I know I'm talented in a lot of different things, but I sometimes fail to remember that God has given me whatever talents that I have, and I'm lucky to have those talents and to be blessed the way I have with the family that I have, and my upbringing, and the relationship I have with Christ. And you know what? There's a lot of people in this world that do not have the blessings that I have, and I need to remember that I am just a humble servant of God, and He gives me everything that I have, and just as quickly He could take it away. And so, I try to remind myself of this verse right here, that we're supposed to act justly, we're supposed to love mercy, and we're supposed to walk with God humbly. Exodus 9:16 says this, "But indeed for this purpose I have raised you up, that I may show my power in you, and that my name may be declared in all the earth." And that's, ultimately what our purpose here on earth is to show God's power and love and glory to those around us, because He has raised us up so that we can show His power and His love and His mercy to other people, and that His name would be glorified. So live your life with purpose. This week, ask yourself, what am I living for? Are we living for things, possessions, status, likes, the love of a boy or girl or whatever? You know what? There's nothing wrong with some of those things. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be loved and wanting success and power and all of that. But if it's outside of God's will, and if it's without Him, then it's ultimately not going to be satisfying anyway. So live this week with purpose, and make a decision to follow Him. I kind of think of someone wandering in the desert. If you don't have something that you're aiming for, you're going to walk in circles, and you're going to get off of the path. So we need to keep God as our guiding light, and He'll direct our paths. Even if we wander off a little bit, we look up and see the light, and then we can get right back on to His power and His path. And the crazy thing is that we ultimately don't know where the destination is, but as long as we're following that direction, God's direction, we're going to end up where we're supposed to be. And it may not be where we thought, but it's going to be better, and you're going to live a life that's more fulfilling. So anyway, I'm praying for you guys this week. I do remember those that we mentioned as prayer requests, and I hope y'all have a fantastic Labor Day tomorrow and a good week. I'll talk to you later. Bye.